What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim back with another video, here to give you guys my thoughts on Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, developed by Treyarch. Now, I got to participate in the ongoing PlayStation 4 alpha, which is awesome. I'm really excited that I got to spend some time playing with it. It's currently free to play for everybody who owns Call of Duty Modern Warfare and has a PlayStation. So awesome job, Sony. Thank you so much for giving us all this opportunity. And I want to talk to you guys today about my thoughts on this game. I have to say, just high level, I think this game is really cool. I think it has a lot of promise. It has a lot of really fun, I think, elements to it. That said, there are definitely some problems. I will caveat this all, obviously, it's an alpha. We know what an alpha means. We know that an alpha means that it's an older build of the game. We know it's a subset of all of the features. We know that everything is not up to snuff. If Call of Duty does anything right, honestly, year after year, graphically, it always seems to impress. And I think we can all collectively agree that Modern Warfare was a huge leap forward in the series. Now, there has been some discussion that maybe Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is going to be a step down. Maybe they're not using the same engine. Maybe there are some graphical anomalies. I can confirm on PlayStation 4 Pro that while this game does run at a great 60 frames a second, the textures leave a lot to be desired. They look very flat. They look very basic. I can understand if this is patched in later. I can understand if an HDR type patch is overlaid towards the end. Maybe that will fix things. Obviously, porting over to PlayStation 5 should make a significant difference, and I am 100% confident that Call of Duty will not release in the state it's in today. I just know that to be a fact. They would be roasted for doing such a thing. Now, with that out of the way, this game features some very different modes and stuff from previous Call of Duties, which obviously makes sense because they do this rotating development cycle where each year a developer gets their hands on it and puts their own spin and perks and everything on it. There's a couple things I want to highlight here. The Gunsmith Mode is radically overhauled for Modern Warfare. Now you can put a modification on every single part of your gun. No more is that pick 5 system. You're going to be able to modify anything you want on your gun. So every attachment you get, if you want to put it on your gun, you can do it. Obviously, you can't have like 2 barrel attachments, but my point is you're not going to have to make those hard choices like you do in Modern Warfare. You're going to be able to pick the exact gun that you want. Another really cool thing that they've added is this wild card. And the wild card essentially is kind of an overarching class to your character that kind of determines whether you're going to have 2 primaries or more perks. There are a few of them in the game. There may be more. But between those 2 systems, I think you're going to be able to fine-tune your gun to exactly the way you want it. You're not going to have to make trade-offs or considerations, something that I feel kind of happens quite a bit, honestly, in Modern Warfare. I'm like, oh, I really want this attachment. I really want this perk, but I can't do it. I have to make a choice. This game's not going to force you to make a choice. And I think you're going to see a lot of creativity in builds, and I think you're going to see a lot of creativity in gameplay. And I appreciate that. The other interesting thing is this game now features score streaks. So kill streaks are gone. If you remember in the old Call of Duty, you would get really cool stuff the more you killed and stayed alive. Obviously, the coveted white phosphorus or the juggernaut was definitely on the end of the spectrum. And then you had lower stuff like UAVs and counter UAVs, stuff on the basic end. That's gone. Instead, this has been replaced with a score streak. Now, the math behind how the score streak works seems a little bizarre to me. I kind of have a hard time, honestly, understanding how it totally works, but I can tell you this. It forces you to play the objective. I'm sure you guys have heard the old acronym PTFO. This game is going to force you to play the objective. And the reason they're going to do that is because that's how you're going to get those score streaks. And that's what you want. You want to be flying around in a chopper gunner. You're going to want to be shooting artillery. You're going to want to have portable SAM sights. Just name a few of the things you're going to get to play with. There's some really fun tech out there. And they're going to reward you by playing the score streaks and getting those points and doing the objectives. So if it is a domination type match and you're running around killing everybody, totally ignoring the points, Even if you have a huge amount of kills, there's a really good chance you're not going to get to have fun with all the crazy gadgets. And I like that. I mean, yes, you are going to definitely slowly level up. But if you're a madman just murdering everybody, it may not matter. But that's like the 1% of the 1%ers. For us laymen who are kind of somewhere in the middle, you're going to definitely want to stick to the objective. Obviously, there is a team deathmatch objective as well. So if that is your forte, just stick to it. But I do appreciate that they're going to kind of weed out a little bit, at least, some of the players who treat every single match and every single game type as a team deathmatch when there really is another objective at play. This is just one way to kind of enforce that in their own way. I do like that. Now, there are some, as I mentioned, there are some odd things going on here, and I'll get to those in just a second. I just want to preface it by saying that I primarily focused on the 6v6 mode. There's a couple maps there, Miami and Satellite. There's also a combined armed domination mode, which features 2 new maps, Armada and Crossroads. They're huge maps. Even the 6v6 maps are huge. There's a lot of things to see, and I don't want to say do. Obviously, you're running around fighting, but they've really opened up these maps significantly. If you are a sniper, you are going to have a field day with this game because there are some incredibly long distances. There are tons of multi-level areas and windows and mounted turret guns and lots of different terrain, ropes and zip lines that you can kind of navigate through. And you're going to have a field day if you're a ranged player. That's the one thing that worries me. I primarily like to focus with a shotgun or an SMG. I like to get up close. I think this game isn't necessarily tailored for people like me. And that does worry me. That doesn't mean the game isn't going to be or have, those modes or those maps that cater kind of. I don't want to say just like every map has to be like Shipment, I guess is my point. But these are the exact total opposite end of the spectrum. These are very, very long, huge maps. And even on the 6v6 maps, you could easily just be wandering around for a long time without finding anybody. And I think that's something they really need to work on. I'd say if that was my only criticism, I'd say my only criticism, my biggest criticism by far definitely was the maps. Way too big. You either need to add more players and just kind of consider maybe like a 10v10 or at least an 8v8, or you need to really kind of condense those maps down and make them a little bit tighter because you are going to be wandering around a lot and it's not that fun. You're going to be hearing gunshots, and by the time you get over there, the action's gone because these maps are huge. I assume it's because it's an alpha, but there are some very odd ping and latency issues. There's a lot of skipping and rubber banding in vehicles, primarily when you're running around on crossroads. The ATV or the snowmobiles, rather, they jerk when they move. Tanks jerk when they move. You're going to be shooting a guy and he's going to run behind cover, and you're still going to be hit markers, even though he's clearly behind cover. You're going to get kills a couple seconds after you've stopped shooting. It doesn't really feel very polished yet. I know it's an alpha, but it's a little worrisome. I'm not saying they're not going to tighten it up some. And I also know that, there's definitely some latency just inherently with these games. But it can't be that obvious, okay? There's got to be a little bit of like, we'll take a little bit of a grace period with it. But this, it's just way off the spectrum in terms of some of the kills. You're going to be like, wait, I got killed how? And you watch the replay, or you're killing somebody and it makes no sense. Another odd thing is the flinch mechanic seems to be greatly diminished, which leads to a very bizarre mechanic I don't remember seeing outside of honestly, Counter-Strike, maybe like Counter-Strike 1.2, 1.3 era, when everybody was running wild with the AWPs, is this jump sniping. So people jump, and while they're in the air, they're sniping, or they plant and immediately shoot, and because of the way the maps are designed, they're going to get a significant amount of kills. And it just doesn't seem like they're being punished enough for that. Your response to a sniper obviously would be smoke grenades, flash grenades, just regular grenades, any kind of like large artillery, just to kind of weed them out a little bit. The limited flinch obviously doesn't help in that mechanic, and the grenade throw takes a while. it feels like it's somewhat unresponsive. Is where before I feel like if you could track somebody in Modern Warfare, you could definitely lead them with a grenade, or you could throw a grenade into a room and run in right behind it. In this game, you have to be way farther back because the time for you to actually throw the grenade for it to land to detonate seems way too long. And in of itself, I wouldn't say that's necessarily such a bad thing. The reality is, though, the way that this game is designed, and that is your hard counter to a sniper, one of those two systems has to change because people are going to run wild with long range weapons. And I think that's something that they definitely need to work on. But I feel like the groundwork is there. The map design, as I mentioned, a little big, but it's fun. The guns all sound great. The sound effects are phenomenal. The style of the game is really pretty. There's tons of options, just like there were in Modern Warfare. So I'm really excited for this. I'm going to be picking it up for PlayStation 5 on launch. I can't wait to dive into it a little bit more and play with my friends and kind of go through the story and then play some of the new modes. Zombies is going to be making a return. I'm excited for that. Warzone's going to carry over in some capacity. But I think I'll primarily be sticking to kind of the more traditional modes. That's kind of my style. This is going to be a good game, though, guys. So if you haven't yet had a chance to check it out, do so. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Are you happy or sad about the return of skill-based matchmaking? Are you happy or sad about kill streaks replacing score streaks? Do you think guns are too powerful with all these attachments? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.